Hello, everybody.
Hi,
Welcome. Right, where is it? All right.
welcome back.
Welcome.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right. Is the internet fixed this week?
Yes, sort of. I put it back where it
Fun last
was.
week.
I put it back where it was, and now it's kind of working. Sort of.
Okay.
It's weird.
I think I figured it out because I found an old book about it in my room for some reason.
Uh,
I think your feng shui is off. Your Wi-Fi
my
is
feng
into
shui.
feng shui.
I
Yeah.
so this week I was thinking I want to learn guitar. Because I want to like record the actual like intro for this. We just like press
Right.
a button. Someday in the future, we'll just press a button and it'll just play the Byzantian brewscast intro with like a rock version of the Eyewitness theme as the backing.
Oh, they exist. So I've heard a few.
It's really funny.
I think my keyboard's somewhere in the attic still,
Hey, um, but welcome to the Byzantian
We'd have to.
brewscast recording.
We'll film it by hand. I'll just run around an art gallery,
We'll find like a
turn upside
chicken
down a bit.
somewhere and like an alligator because that's that bit with the alligators, the really like intentional step forward that which weirdly coincides with the woo! Fucking, I love that intro
Dolphins,
so
hold
much.
up a dolphin through midair.
Yeah, we have to find like an underwater section.
Just
'Cause
catch
that's
it.
a random Porsche 911 Turbo for some reason. Because that's in
It's the
the
car.
intro.
It's just, all right.
Because it has I looked at this in detail. It has a Porsche badge and everything. That's an officially licensed asset. So weird.
Amazing.
I can
Porsche
only
endorsed eyewitness.
I can
That's
only
something.
assume that at some point there was probably going to be a car eyewitness game or something that was going to involve Porsche that fell through. Because otherwise, why would you pay Porsche a significant amount of
Eyewitness
money?
just Porsche.
Yeah, just for your intro. Because it proper like the camera properly goes around that red
It could
Porsche.
be.
It gives some real eye candy, like attention.
So you'd be walking around the museum with just random Porsches just walking around.
Just see a random Porsche driving around by itself. Just be like, okay, bit weird.
Yep.
So what have we been up to this week?
I had a really interesting Saturday.
Hey,
Um, I was helping Mosey Rugby Club at one of their rugby games. That was fun.
interesting.
So I did that. So let's say 12 till about 5. That was the
Mm-hmm.
match. Then I hanging around because they for a bit because they volunteering. You get a couple of free pints, free lunch on the house, free soft drinks. It's quite good. Um, then I had to head to a house party that was a very chill house party.
Noise.
Keep in mind this whole time, so I had 4 pints pretty much given to me for free,
Mm-hmm.
so that was nice. Then I've sobered up on the ride to back to or towards Four Oaks for this house party.
Uh-huh.
We watched just a load of movies and rewatched some stuff, and that went until like 2:30 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Then, then by this point, I'm sober again. Um, at this point, then I get a lift back to Sutton Colt. I've got tipsy twice in one day. That was
Mm-hmm.
fun. Um, so when I finally do get back to Sutton Coldfield, to get lift back to the town
Yeah.
centre and walk the rest of the way to let the air sober me up a bit.
Uh-huh.
Keep in mind it was super foggy last night as well.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so it's honestly a really spooky walk home.
That moment
I
when you
know
accidentally
there's
get
a piece of
dropped off
music
in
that
Silent
my
Hill
brain
instead.
reminded me of that just to wind me up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, I'll find it. Because for some reason my brain thought it'd be a really fun idea to remember that really spooky like bit of music from one of your favorite horror films. Yeah, this would be a really good time to listen to that. my brain just reminded myself, which is really nice when
That
it was like
that awkward
half
moment when
two in the
the
morning, no, closer to 3 in the morning.
yeah, that awkward
It was
moment when
done.
you're
It was
walking
like
home from on the lash and the Silent Hill 2 music kicks in. Still. Oh no,
yeah.
I've got
This
to.
one's. I'll drop it in the chat.
Oh
Um,
no, I'm going to be confronted
I'll
by
drop it
my
in the chat
sins
because it
and
is.
fears. Help.
To see myself with like a penis arm or something.
Ooh.
Oh, it's yeah. It was so perfectly foggy last night.
Mhm.
That you ever seen the old Exorcist poster?
Yes, I
Of the
think
film The
so.
Exorcist,
Yeah,
the original poster for that,
I think
with
so.
with the like the man in the hat under the. I swear to God, if you just put someone in a coat and hat standing under a light, it would just that you could recreate it. Is
Hang
so
on.
perfect. Uh,
Funny man, funny heart.
so I got home at 3, and it's like it was at that point it was legitimately just like actually. It's Sutton Coldfield, so you're pretty safe in Sutton Coldfield. But
Mhm.
everything's slightly spooky at 3 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
So constantly looking behind me. It was a really spooky way to end the day.
Bless your heart.
I'm alive, so that's the thing.
Mhm.
And the whole time the walk home, I had this bit of music floating around my head because I remembered it because my brain decided this is the best time to remember this bit of
The
music.
brainworms were like,
It's great, very weird. That'd be really funny if you scared yourself tonight. Yeah,
uh,
I'm
s-
alive, and
good.
and I surprisingly not hungover at all,
Hey,
and I've got like two or three, like loads more match days coming up in the
nice.
next few weeks. So might get to know the rugby club a bit better. Nice people.
Mhm.
Yeah. Busy weekend though. I'm kind of glad I had nothing on today.
Yeah, I can imagine. So for me this week, it's been kind of a tense week, kind of a busy week, because my volunteering work is getting a
Yeah.
bit hectic lately. I'm very busy with things. Uh, a theft occurred. That was funny. I have to report that. It was only like a petty theft, but still, it's like great. Now I've got to call the police. Brilliant. So there was that. Then the council
Okay.
decided they don't have enough
What was the
money off of.
theft?
Someone stole from the donations cup. They stole like
Oh,
a £5 note out of there for some reason.
oh,
So it's like, great, I've got to call the police and
oh!
report
Come
this
on.
now because it's policy, Um, and then the council has sent
And
well,
then they won't do anything for like two
yeah,
years as well.
yeah. It
Uh,
doesn't really. It's not about anything being done per se. 'Cause it's like a fiver, but like it's more about we have to call the police because it's policy to do so.
yeah.
Which just makes my day take longer and a bit annoying. So I got back from doing that on Tuesday, and then only to find that I'd had three letters from bailiffs saying you haven't paid council tax. I'm like, but what? I've been paying council tax. I have been paying it. The council knows this. What do you mean I haven't been paying council tax? So I've had to message the council like, oi, what the heck's going on? So that's
Yeah.
fun because the council haven't got back to me.
What about second taxes?
Yeah, it's so useless. So yeah, my week has mostly been
Well, it's like
boring,
council
worky
rubbish
bollocks. Yeah. Ugh.
and councils.
Dear. Anyway, right. So we're gonna start up today. God, why did I get out my phone to look at the notes when I have the notepad right in front of me? There we are. Where's the bookmark? Right. Yeah. So if we're gonna start this week with tabletop book club, what you got for us this week?
Oh, this one. I found another Dark Sun thing,
Oh.
which is quite nice. Um,
Mhm.
looking to get a version of it on actually a version of it on my laptop rather than just my phone.
Noise.
And I found the character guide when I can find it. Uh, yeah, so it's more Dark Sun for my Dark Sun. I have been since then slowly adding stuff to it,
Mm.
adding basically converting stuff to fifth edition. Um, but I have found something else I found that because I've already kind of done Dark Sun is what I think is one of the so I said I mentioned a few skirmish games I quite like.
Yeah.
I found one that is the PDF is completely free, and I have to say it's a really cool idea, and I'm kind of for it. Because it's for example, do you remember when the game Blasphemous came out or stuff like that?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, it's kind of got that vibe. The game's called Dead Gods, and it's a dark fantasy skirmish game. Any miniatures you like, as long as it fits.
Hmm.
Really simple rules. This entire book is like let's have a look. It's like under 20 pages long. This thing. It's
Okay.
just a really good short little PDF book for a really good little skirmish game. The entire premise is quite spooky, but I love it. It's basically set in well, whatever fancy world you like. It doesn't have a strict name. Basically, there was a big old war in the heavens. Hundreds of gods were flat out killed. That sort of trickled down to Earth, or what the equivalent. And basically, there's loads of weird cults now that just want to have their own weird divine purposes, but the gods are dead, and the skeletons sort of just litter the earth in a very like dark fantasy kind of way.
Ooh.
I just love the idea of that, and allows me to use my pile of shame to pick out the more interesting bits and actually make stuff, which is always good practice. Also uses a really small board. It's like 3 foot by 3 foot, or 2 foot by 2 foot table.
Hmm.
Um, really simple rules, which is quite nice, and it's like you can play it within like an hour, and they're quite like it's quite good. It's got a lot of all the unit types, all archetypes that are pretty easy to fit into anything. We've got stuff like assassin, champion, golem, peasant is one. Like your cheap unit, witches, skirmishers, but it depends on what miniatures you've got to it.
Hmm.
Um, but honestly, really good little book, and I would recommend just looking at it because especially if you're looking to migrate from like the big hobbies like Warhammer, you've got a load of old miniatures that Games Workshop has decided is no longer in the fantasy range. I think Dead
Yeah.
Gods is a really good place for them, and yeah, so I've been having a bit of that because remember they ever bought the Doomed a while back. They might have mentioned that one as well. Um, I found a home for my old Inquisitor miniature. It's on the old metal ones,
Oh
and
yes.
my old Vostroyan metal guardsman that I bought from Russia. They finally have a home in the Doomed because
Hey.
otherwise they didn't really have a home in, especially the Inquisitor, because the base size is now wrong.
Mm.
So I've repurposed them for a different game, and you really can't tell the difference because they fit the setting just well enough, which is really cool. So yeah, I would. Dead Gods is like that, but the fantasy equivalent.
Uh-huh.
Is,
Mm.
oh,
Oh, I can hear you. I was just sorry. Got a bit distracted. My brain. You were saying?
right, hello.
Oh
No,
no,
where did we cut off? Sorry.
no, we didn't cut off. I thought we'd cut off. That was the problem.
Oh no, sorry. No, no, just saying. It's short and sweet. It's about Dead Gods, literally 4 pages long. Really
Nice.
good skirmish game. Really cool dark fantasy setting going on with it.
Hmm.
Basically, the gods are dead. Their corpses are literally littering the earth, and cults want to worship them or become new gods. It's very fear and hunger that way.
Oh.
But if you have a lot of weird miniatures, I think it's kind of one of the perfect games for old miniature ranges. It's
Nice.
called like the Doomed, but the fancy version. So I can't recommend it enough. Yeah.
Fair enough. Uh, Sounds cool. Uh,
What you
so
picked up this week?
so I have the quick start guide. Still going through my pile from UK Games Expo. This is Fallout Factions Nuka World, which I actually want to talk about for a bit because I really want to get some of these miniatures at some point.
Oh yes.
Um, so this is
Oh,
a
okay.
15-page, effectively gameplay demo for Fallout Factions, get you started kind of thing, let you sort of vaguely know about things. So the quick start is between the pack and the operators. This will be, if you've ever played Fallout 4, you know what I'm on about. These are raider groups within the Nuka World DLC. I think these guys don't actually appear in the game. So the names are like Eddie, Bobby Ray, Lucky Joe, Teen, and Slick Rick for the operators. I don't think they actually. I don't think any of them are named characters, but it's just cool they have names in this document. Just a little bit of, just a little bit of flavor. So, of course, this game system uses special, strength, perception, endurance, charisma, intelligence, agility, and luck, which is kind of cool. Uh, yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting that they actually managed to work that in somehow. So it is a skirmish game, so it's very much kind like. But the looks of things, it's very much like Kill Team and the like. Um,
Which is getting a new edition soon.
yeah.
Apparently, is what I hear.
So there are tokens for. So whenever a model takes an action that takes fatigue, the first time a model takes fatigue, a fatigue token is placed next to its base with the weary side showing. Next time it takes fatigue, it is exhausted. An exhausted model can't make any more actions this round. So I think each model seems to get like 2 actions around, but you actually have a token to track
Right.
that, which is kind of nice actually. That's interesting. So it just goes through basic rules of combat. So you've got standard dice and luck dice.
Yeah.
Um, oh, you use different colors so
Well,
you know which is which. What is luck dice?
that's
Um,
fair.
luck. Oh, okay. So you roll basically get extra dice based on the character's luck, which is interesting. So when you do things, if they have like a luck of 1, you get one additional luck dice. So that's
Okay.
cool. And it's cool you separate them by like colors. I don't really know why. Uh
I mean,
oh,
suppose they're doing it for the box,
for
but
each luck dice that scored a hit, take another standard die and roll it. Set any dots aside and add any hits to the pool. Huh? Oh, so every time you hit with a luck dice, you might
okay,
potentially
this
get an
is the wrong.
additional hit. I guess. So it's like a critical hit
Okay.
or something, maybe. Oh, like a mini crit. Okay.
Okay.
Another cool, and the other cool thing is just that this is a Fallout system with like Fallout miniatures. So some of the imagery is like very post-apocalyptic. You can see like some of the basic. So there's an image here from page 8 where you can see things like the U.S. Army crates and the classic explosive crates and like a pile with a classic Fallout suitcase. So
Oh yeah.
even like I think this is Modifus, so Modifus does their own terrain. So even like some of the terrain is like lore accurate in that regard. It's accurate to like the way things should look in the game series, which is really just little things. It's just like yes. But yeah, it
So it's
seems like
quite. It looks like quite a big box. You got quite a few miniatures in that.
yeah. So
Oh,
some of your units are actually
I
quite
did a bit of.
sizable. And they've got like characters and stuff. So there's things
Yeah,
like
did a bit of.
yeah, the one I really want is Frank Horrigan, from the main Fallout Wasteland stuff, which I think is
Like,
also compatible with factions because Frank Horrigan is just absolute
yeah,
beast.
it's yeah.
Your ride's over, beauty. Time to die.
Apparently, the designers also worked on Necromunda. Just a bit digging on that. It probably
Oh,
explains why it's such a good skirmish game. He's literally done it
yeah,
before.
yeah. Almost like you've done it before
And
with
Necromunda
another.
was quite a good game as well.
Hmm.
I've played that a few times.
Yeah. Frank Horrigan's miniature's like roughly about 24, but like for a legendary hero miniature, I don't mind that
So
because it
look,
looks real. Like I don't mind spending that amount on a miniature because because it's basically a statue, basically. For a large
oh,
based
he's
character
quite big.
that is in of himself very cool and is probably basically an army unto himself. Maybe get some Enclave guys to go with him or something, and just have like a Fallout factions Enclave group.
Yeah, I would like to see more of the Enclave. Just the scene
Hmm?
the game
Yeah, yeah.
because they're kind of interesting.
I think the problem is that they killed them off for the most part um in
Yeah,
Fallout 3. Yeah, the little bit of them, the remnants in um what's it called? New Vegas. 4, you didn't really see them at all unless you did some of the fuck, I'm trying to remember all the things now. The Creation Club Black Devil DLC, which has a little bit of Enclaviness in it. But I think actually though, there's
yeah,
a lot of Enclave stuff coming out in Fallout 76 lately. They've added a new area, which is like a massive presidential bunker or something out in Appalachia. So there's a lot of Enclave
right.
content coming out that end, which is pretty cool sounding. Even though Fallout 76 was, let's just say it wasn't the best
Questionable.
launch game or best game at launch. Let's just say that. It's definitely gotten better, but it's gotten to the point where it should have been when it first came out, in
Just
my
for this stuff,
opinion.
but it's sold out.
Suffice to
If it was
say,
fixed, it would have worked.
yeah, if it was how it is now to begin with, I don't think anyone would have complained. As it stands, though,
Yep.
also, I don't. I'm still not
Yeah.
sold on it being an online game. Just should have just made it single player. That's why.
It's Fallout 4, but also online.
Yeah. Anyway, and also, of course, there's some Enclave, a little bit of
Or
Enclave
the
stuff in
best
the show,
option,
but
do it like, or just do the Monster Hunter method and have online and offline be effectively the same game.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You can just go online whenever you want, or go offline whenever you want.
I think they did a thing where you could do private servers now, so you
That
could
way, the
just
servers go down. You can still play it.
yeah, and yeah, I think they did
Okay.
like a thing private server, so you could just be in a server by yourself if you really wanted to, kind of like how you could do it in GTA 5 and stuff online. But like, it's very much a case of too little, too late. You know?
Yeah, it's had years on. Well, should have had years on it.
Yeah.
Oh well. No, but
Oh well.
they are nice miniatures, but so they do sell out quickly from the site I'm looking at now. Bit annoying, really.
Yes.
I like the look of the Legion just for the memes. Just nuts. I do like how weird the Legion are.
Hmm. I think I've talked
Just
about the miniatures
weirdos
before
that
on
dress
this,
like
but
Roman legionnaires for some
yeah.
reason.
'Cause I know we've discussed the miniatures before on this, but now that I've actually read the quick start guide, I'm like, yes. I think once I've painted my Skavens, I might pick out a Frank Horrigan or
The
an
NCR ones
Enclave
look
group.
fine.
Yeah. Right. Uh, anyway.
Let's have a look at what the gun is like. Yes.
Uh, so I think they've also got stuff
So
like the.
what's next? We
Sorry,
got what the next? What's
I've just seen.
the holy guide?
Sorry, I've just seen perhaps the worst case of. I don't know which miniature is this is from Fallout. I think I've seen the worst case of mid jump pose miniature ever. I'll put this
Oh
in the meme
no.
chat. I don't know which
We need a
miniature
name
this
for
guy
that.
is.
Like that for this exact problem.
Give me a second. I've
Oh.
got to send an image file. It's gonna take
I
like
hope he's like
3.
I hope he's handstanding.
Isn't it? Oh, it's Jake Finch from Finch Farm. Yeah, that famous character from Fallout. For that
Oh,
one quest in Fallout 4. That one optional side quest in Fallout 4. But he's like, it looks like he's about to fall over.
He's about to fall over.
It's like so like
He's
mid-run slash
tripped.
jump.
He's
Yeah,
mid-trip. He hasn't figured it out
it's
yet.
such. Maybe if you weren't holding a shish kebab and a gun, you could,
President
put
Rock
one
that tripped
hand
him
out
over.
and save yourself from falling over, mate.
That's not a good miniature. What
Is that
the hell?
Mama Murphy? There ain't no way.
There's not even like the pretense of his other foot's on a rock or
Yeah,
something.
there ain't
It's
no
just
way.
floating in the
There
midair.
ain't no way. There's a fucking Mama Murphy miniature. She's like about to punch someone. Famous
She did that
combat
a lot in the
character.
game. Yeah, I remember that.
A kid Mama Murphy's about to punch someone's shit in.
Oh, Murphy. Yeah.
I think like there's actually like a joke though. I think her actual stats or something like I think she's like a 10 in strength or something stupid like that.
Oh, what?
Or maybe like I think she's got like 10 in like strength or luck or something because she's just ridiculous. Actually, if she were in combat, she would actually be kind of deadly. Probably should just
These are like the joke characters.
yeah. So this is like the Wasteland survivors. So the
These are
Sanctuary
maybe it's like
crew.
the joke team.
Yeah, the joke team. Anyway, let's move on to Critical Fumble. Woo! We love Critical Fumbles. What we got this week?
Powder Gang, that'd be fun. Let's just load of dynamite.
Oh, just yeet.
I have one. I've got one from yesterday. That was almost a very physical fumble.
Ooh.
Could have got me in trouble by mistake. So I'm doing my business. I'm all suited up. Doing my thing. Anyway, so this woman is just looking concerned.
Mm-hmm.
And some people are funny about the suits. That's fine. So like just lift the head up just a little bit. Just just like you're all right. You're looking concerned. Anyway, that's just fine. Get chatting to her. Nothing remotely flirty. Just small talk.
Uh-huh.
I turn around to check like the crowd and stuff, checking on some photo or something. Anyway, one of the rugby players comes up, just plants a kiss on her. So
Oh.
if he'd taken that the wrong way, he'd get knocked out for that. That's a fumble,
Ooh.
accidental, but I'll count that. Nothing happened. I was fine, but they almost got in trouble there. That could have gone down badly.
Yeah. It's almost like something out of like like a very let's say American movies, like American Pie,
No,
that
it
kind
was
of
fun.
thing. Just, ooh, the hangover moment. Just something very comedic. If you were a third party observer, it's about to happen.
accidentally, accidentally get someone thinking you're chatting up their partner and you're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, that's good comedic timing. Nah. I need to stop. You know, accidentally talking to attractive people while I'm sweaty and looking gross. It just keeps happening. I'm not even planned.
Oh dear.
It's happened like twice, uh, and both times I was actually keen as well. So that was weird. But when I look presentable, I'm not interested in anyone. When I'm all like sweaty and gross after a few hours in costume, like, oh yeah, there they are. They're not my least attractive. It's just poor timing, I think.
The universe is just fucking with you at this point. Like, okay. I see you have a sense of humor, I guess.
It really is. It really is.
Then again, I guess it is kind of a sports movie trope, isn't it? The
Yeah. So do you see any fumbles this week?
so I do actually.
Yes.
It's a nitpick. It's a nitpick.
Uh,
But it's Wizards again. That's the main one anyway. So the main one is Wizards. So
That's
More
fine.
reveals will be coming out for
Oh, we're
Duskmore,
back.
and they've made
Yes, I feel like
This isn't going to make sense to
feel like with
most
wizards.
people, but they've made a legendary
Lovely.
blue nightmare creature. Nightmare, not a problem. Okay, we get it. It's a nightmare realm. It's based on like Hammer and that kind of era of slightly B movie horror fantasy stuff. The only problem I have with the card, because it's a blue legendary thing that mills cards that looks like a bit like a crab, a bit like a fucked up version of a crab, isn't a crab.
Right.
It's not a crab. Mill crabs is a thing. They didn't make it a crab. Where's me crab? I want look because funny mill crab is practically a meme in Magic.
Just trolling you.
Yeah, it's just like the joke is right there. The joke writes itself. Funny mill crab. Why is it not a crab? It even has crab-like legs. Why is it not a crab? It's like the opposite problem of what usually happens. It didn't evolve to crab.
There's so many crabs in this game.
There's a lot of crabs. Like, I think it's Hedron crab, and there's another one, which are the important ones that do mill stuff when you play a land.
Iceberg.
So it's like, yeah. So it's like
Crix, which is definitely some sort of crab.
A crab. But people have been wanting like good legendary crabs for milling for legendary crabs for ages.
Never legendary crab.
Just please, can we have a legendary mono blue crab for mono blue mill, please? We want to make funny mill crab deck. Give us mill crab, please.
There's canyon crab. Apparently.
Crab. My other one is slightly less good. It's our other well, I say it's probably not necessarily their fault, but it's our other common critical fumble target, Warhammer. So as you might know, the new game is out, and it might be a buggy mess. Is the problem? I mean, I guess nobody was surprised that a modern borderline AAA game is buggy, but our mutual friend and fellow streamer Top Hat and Yushanka has been playing it, and they've experienced at least one straight-up crash during that game, and their PC is not that bad. So it's like, how is like. Okay, bugs on day one is one thing. A bug that straight up crashes the fucking game in like normal gameplay, where in a situation where someone's not doing something ridiculously stupid.
Brilliant.
How did nobody catch this? So yeah, like.
Will this be Space Marine 2, I'm assuming?
Yeah, Space Marine 2. How is it that even when it's not necessarily Warhammer's fault, Warhammer winds up on critical fumble?
Finds a way. I think that game is everything I thought it was going to be.
What did you think it was going to be? Please.
Workshop always finds a way.
Yeah.
No, in that it is good. It's more Space Marine for your Space Marine. I don't know. Didn't blow me away, but it was good. I thought if we're talking about recent games, I think Black Myth Wukong is the better game.
Yeah, I've seen a little bit about Black Myth Wukong.
It's a little different. I like it. I like that it does a lot of level variety to it, and the plot's straightforward enough that the gameplay is also just well put together.
Mm-hmm.
It's got the right bits, doing the right bits.
Yes.
Not sure it's game of the year, but it's definitely like you can play at any point without any connection to the actual myth and still enjoy it, which that's good. And it's just kind of like God of War, but not really, with a bit of Dark Souls in there, and that's a good combination now.
Yeah.
You get the impression though that with Wizards of the Coast, it's sort of like being a head teacher, and you just have the problem student just keeps coming in for something.
It's that one Harry Potter meme of why is it whenever something goes wrong, it's always you three, and that you three is Konami, Wizards of the Coast, and Warhammer.
You need to stop coming in. Just behave. Yeah.
It's the Shrek
It's
2
a real
thing.
fight. All right, it's
Can you not be
could be the
yourself
rain
for
on my end.
5 minutes?
Yes, stop, please. Yeah. Oh, we can always find out next week. Hopefully not. What else is on?
Right. How about we do our home brews of the week? Do, 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 do.
We need a jingle for that as well. But yeah. Oh, what's the Art Attack? Remember that Art Attack music used to play all like this is painted by Alex, who's 6 from Cambridge. It would be like their dog.
Okay, so this week,
The music was rent free in my head. Yeah, I've done some Lancer stuff today. This week, so today.
Ooh.
I'm gonna go and find it in my file of homebrew. Yeah, I did some Lancer homebrew this week because I wanted something a little bit different,
Interesting.
and I like big mechs with big guns, and I like my I like mechs on the extreme end of the genre. Either they're like absurdly space age to the point where it's probably never going to happen, or it's
Kit Bash.
big stompy box robots.
Yeah.
The middle's fine. I like the extreme ends. They're the funny bits. I've gone with this one's quite a big boxy boy because I wanted to come up with and I like designing factions from the bottom up. So this is would be like their main battle mech.
They're like infantry level,
the most basic,
mech.
cheap. It will do. It works. Mech going.
Oh
yeah,
the mass-produced
to start from there, and you design the weird stuff around it.
Yeah.
The
big sort of.
And what I settled on was. Yeah,
Sorry.
Yeah.
The Sherman
Sorry.
of.
I thought the
Sherman of mechs.
Audio's gone against cutting out a bit.
The Sherman of mechs.
Very much so.
Okay, I can hear you again now anyway.
Got the stereotypical German thing of efficiency first.
Yes.
And a bit of that was, well, it needs an impressive name. And I couldn't settle on, so I said, right, a lot of the mechs are named after great English generals. If you noticed on the CompCom, there's a lot of dramatic general names on there.
Yeah.
So I called it the Cromwell because by accident it was the name of a battle tank, but it's also fits a tone, so it goes with it. Sounds important. But basically, it's a humanoid mech, but without the head. It's more in line with something like the classic Space Marine Dreadnought rather than a Gundam mech.
Yes.
So it's like that, but sleeker, effectively. Cockpit's right in the center of the hull rather than having a head, so to speak. Still got a couple of arms.
Oh, sorry.
It's very deliberately slow, and it's very rather than having fancy armor. Oh, sorry. Am I coming through?
No, that's fine. Yeah, there's just a tiny momentary blip.
Nope.
There we go. It's okay now.
I see. Now it is raining. It might be throwing my Wi-Fi off.
Yeah.
So cool. So I designed it to be right. This is a cheap mainline battle mech. It was designed to be deliberately slow, but really precise and accurate. So to make things quote unquote cheap for a mech, it doesn't have any powered fancy weapons or anything. It's got its backup weapon is just like a big. Its one hand is just slightly more armored than the other, so it can punch with it. That's kind of
Oh,
the only thing it's got, apart from a well, for it, it's a rifle,
yeah.
but for it's an autocannon, that mega carbine. Because it's like a shorter rifle for a big mech.
Mm.
Um, it's basically big, slow infantry unit, but the whole point of that was I did homebrew a rule for it. I'm slowly figuring out how to homebrew Lancer a little bit. I'm
Mm.
not familiar with the system that much. So it's got the systems I gave it with. This whole thing was designed to be stupidly reliable. So it's got no lasers or anything. This is bullet only. Um, it can make range attacks when it jams.
Yeah, that
Doesn't
makes sense to
matter.
me.
It can still fire because it's just fine bullets.
Yeah,
It pretty much doesn't break. It has stable structure because it's meant to not be moved.
makes
And I
sense.
gave it something called, I made up something called aim lock. Basically, it's a risky thing you can do with it. Basically, it was designed to shoot from standing, so it has a +1 modifier when you're shooting with it when it doesn't move.
That makes sense.
Of course, the risk is you're standing still, so you're going to get shot at. But that's what is literally built with literally thick armor just for that purpose.
Yeah.
Um, it was kind of nice to have something so simple. All it was is big blocky mainline robot. It has a big robot rifle, 12 range, so it's slightly longer than the main autocannon.
Hmm.
But rather than reliable 2, it's reliable 1. So it's designed to hit when it does fire and hurt really reliably rather than fire a lot of shots.
Yeah. Just
Gauntlet.
kind of just
So
bang.
rather just a big punchy gauntlet
Hmm.
because I
Smoke.
love the thought of yeah, because I thought about it ergonomically. Yeah, I thought about it ergonomically. You're right. Like if in the case of even like a modern soldier's gear,
Hmm.
you might draw a knife in the when you have no other option going.
Yeah.
What if rather than having to? I mean, yeah, that's not that. It doesn't take that long to draw a knife, but what if you just had like a glove that you could just like hit harder with that
Yeah.
was already on your hand? So there's no like switching weapons at all. It would just deck you in the face as a last resort. Because it's a mech, it will hurt.
Yeah, because like a mech doesn't
It's
necessarily
just a
get
big mech gauntlet.
fatigued. A mech isn't going to get fatigued from wearing a gauntlet all day. I guess is the philosophy. Like,
Just thinking of the logistics of wait, it could switch to a sidearm, or it could just have the
yeah,
weapon
like
built into its hand,
like
so
a
it doesn't have
mech,
to arm
unlike a
itself. It's just
person, isn't going to
mech
get wrist
fun.
ache. Or at least I hope it's not going to get wrist ache. Just the AI in the mech.
Oh yeah,
Oh, my wrist hurts. What do you mean your
uh,
wrist hurts?
yeah. And
Yeah.
Tim, we gave our mechs feelings, and now they're rubbish.
Uh,
Yeah, now it wants to go to therapy. You have
uh,
to pay it. We have to
what
pay our mechs now.
it wants
That's annoying.
it wants a dental plan. It doesn't even have teeth. Just wants what the rest of the soldiers have.
Oh, teeth. Give it teeth. It wants teeth to have the dental plan.
Okay.
So that I want to design a big. We want to design a big blocky robot to
Nice.
potentially start a faction off, and
Mhm.
I was inspired by, have you ever seen like the early Gundam stuff, like the
Yeah.
Zaku and like the big all the ground stuff?
Mm.
That was a little bit of inspiration because that's just big heavy robots with big automatic weapons that can be made in a
Yeah.
factory
It's
for
just
practically no cost.
bulky
The
walking
idea with the
tanks.
faction was actually that this unit is comically, yeah,
Yeah.
and it's made that way so that its other units are really high spec.
Mm.
Coming through,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
yeah. So the design was the idea was this. It's actually a really high end brand, but its mainline unit is cheap and easily replaceable. Everything else around this mech is like ridiculously space age.
Ah.
It's just this one mainline mech that you can just put on basic guard duty forever. This is where they saved the money. Everything else going forward is like overly engineered.
Right. This is their economy model.
Yeah, but it works, and
Yeah.
it was like their first model. It just never stopped being practical.
It's
So they
like
just
the
keep
Land Rover.
shoveling it out.
It's the Land Rover
Also, it's
3
good for rookie
series
pilots.
of mechs. They've never like taken it out of production because it, even though it's
Yeah.
old and it's kind of obsolete, it's still kind of useful for some like basic security stuff.
And it's good for rookie pilots
Mm.
because if you break it, okay, have another. It's not like
Yeah.
you're going to get attached to it. You know, I love the idea like mech pilots. You give them the most basic mech going. If they show any sort of specialty with any sort of skill set, you give them a fancier mech when they earn
Mm.
it. You give them like the bog standard. It's got a gun, has a melee weapon, bit of armor, maybe some e-tech defense, but really, it's you. This is basic robot. Until you get good, you are working with this.
Yeah. That's cool. That's pretty neat. And it's cool you did something in the
That's my
Lancer
homebrew for the
system.
week.
So I've got technically two again, but they're very
Oh yeah,
closely linked. So first of all, I've been making a golem again. So this is the totemic golem.
Mhm.
So it's like a totem
Hey,
golem. So kind of like, I don't know what like culture.
right?
What actually? I might actually Google this. What? Because there's obviously it's not just Hawaiian, but like what? Where is tiki from?
Hawaiian golem.
And yeah, kind of, because I know like the Aztecs also used totems, right? They also have something. The Aztecs had something kind of similar to tiki totems. They had like
That's
their
great. The
spirit
little
animal
Lao.
totems. I
Right.
think also Native Americans are also have totems. That's also a thing. But I was
Oh, no.
going more sort of the tiki
Okay.
kind of totems. But the idea is I wrote this to
I
be
think
generic enough that it could be any type of totem. Um, Although maybe I'll add some more forms
right.
to it later, that because it has forms or versions to better display the different types of totems. Like because there's animal totems, there's the faces, there's uh the other Aztec ones which are like their
Right.
gods. Anyway, totems are really interesting. Have a very rich history, I'm sure, but I'm not an archaeologist, nor am I like a culturologist. Anyway, it's a CR4, has the standard immunity to poison, low movement speed, conditioned immunities of various types: charmed, exhaustion, frightened, paralyzed, petrified, poisoned. Has 120 feet of dark vision, passive perception 10. Obviously, understands the language of the crates, can't speak. Standard stuff. Immutable form. Has advantage on the first saving throw against spells and other magical effects because it's a lesser golem, so it doesn't have just straight up magic resistance. Stacks are magical. Here's where things get interesting. So, phases. This creature has phases, and this is perhaps one of the lower CR
Hmm?
things that might be out there that uses lair actions. Because I like lair actions, I think they're cool. So, at the initiative 20, aka a lair action, you roll a
Right.
d4, and there are 4 different faces. So it's angry. If a creature looks directly at one of the
Right.
totemic golem's faces, it must make a DC 10 charisma saving throw. On a failed save, they are frightened until the next turn. So very basic debuffs if you look at their faces. Kind of like baby's first Gorgon kind of situation. So you're not going to just straight up turn to stone if you look at them, but you'll
Right.
suffer a debuff. Laughing means that the totemic golem takes 2 less damage from each source, from all sources, including itself. So if it's like it's on fire, if it gets hit by an attack, it takes 2 less. Kind of like a weird secondary armor kind of thing. The idea it's laughing off your damage, basically. It's laughing it off, literally.
Okay.
Phase 3, sad. So sad faces. Creates a 30-foot radius magical field around the totemic golem.
No.
All creatures in the radius, including itself, suffer a -2 to all skill checks and attack rolls. Because they're not feeling it this today. They're not quite feeling it. They're not quite emotionally on their best. So everyone suffers, including the creature itself. And then 4 is manic. That kind of that kind of manic mad
What?
expression you sometimes see on the totem golem, the totem poles, like the tongue sticking out, the crazy looking
Yeah.
face with the weird that kind of thing. If a creature looks directly at one of the totemic golem's faces in this phase, it must make a DC 12 Wisdom save. On a failed save, the affected creature is unable to discern friend from foe and will move and attack a random creature within viable attack/movement range. This effect lasts until the end of the round. The totemic golem will not take an attack of opportunity from this, even if it would otherwise be able to do so. So, ergo, if the maddened quote-unquote creature moves away from the totemic golem to attack something else that isn't them, it will not take an attack of opportunity from that action. Because, in a way, it kind of knows what it's doing, so it knows that, my ability has worked, so I'm not going to hit them, because they hopefully now will be at least temporarily under my control. Vaguely.
Right.
It's also just kind of trying to be fair, I guess.
Okay.
If a roll hits the same phase twice in a row,
Yeah,
aka
that's
you
fair.
roll a 4, then you roll a 4 again on the next turn, the current effect becomes amplified. So saving
Yeah.
throw DCs increased by 2 for anger and mania.
Ooh.
Sadness's effect adds an additional -1 to all skill checks and attack rolls, and laughing reduces damage taken by an additional 1. A phase may be amplified multiple times. I figured that's probably quite fair because the chance of you rolling 3, say 2s in a row, is very low, and it gives you a little bit of extra ante to these is the abilities in question, rather than going it's just the same thing again. But it's the same thing but harder. Yeah.
Okay.
So we have
I like that.
yeah.
That's a bit of chaos to it.
Yeah, I've also given it several different variants within the stat block because totems are made of various materials. So the wooden one also resists bludgeoning, slashing, and piercing, but is vulnerable to fire and necrotic. If it's set on fire, it will continue to burn until extinguished, causing it to take 1d8 fire damage at the start of each of its turns, but giving its attacks an additional 1d4 fire damage on a hit. I kind of I got the idea for Burning in Patchy and Burning Man Festival and stuff like that. Of yeah, maybe it being on fire would be a good thing, but also a bad thing for you at the same time.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
The stone one resists fire, slashing, and piercing, but is vulnerable to acid and bludgeoning. If hit by acid, it will continue to melt until the acid is cleaned away, taking 1d6 acid damage at the start of each of its turns, but its attacks deal an additional 1d4 piercing damage as the bit that's worn off starts to become jagged. Which I thought, again, another risk versus reward way of doing weaknesses. And then finally we have Obsidian, which is a CR5 version of the same creature. This creature resists fire, acid, and non-magical weapon damage, but takes 1d8 acid damage, ignoring resistance, if it is wet or otherwise partially or fully submerged in water. Because Obsidian really doesn't like water.
Okay.
It also has Cursed Strike, this version. Creatures hit by an Obsidian totemic golem suffer an additive -1 to their next roll. Because I feel an Obsidian. If you ever seen an Obsidian totem in like Minecraft or whatever, it does look kind of spooky, as if it's a cursed thing. Ooh. We're gonna get a deadly curse just by looking at it. So actions. So multi-attack has the golem makes 2 slam attacks. That's multi-attack.
There's a.
Go on.
No, didn't carry on. I just, if you like that, there is a golem in the Dark Sun book. I think it might actually be an Obsidian golem.
Hey.
Oh no, carry on though.
Yeah.
It is. It is. Oh my god, it's 4th edition stats, but get a picture of it because it's very cool looking.
Yeah.
So carry on there.
So one thing these do have, it has I've given it laser eyes because I'm kind of going down the very almost cartoony kind of route with these. I don't know, because I don't know
It's fair.
quite why I went down this slight route, but it just deals fire damage. It's a ranged weapon, giving it some ranged attacks. It has low movement speed. It's a 30-foot. Laser eyes, 2d8 fire damage. You could probably just reflave that as just because it as just either fire breath or whatever. And as Shaman Barrier, the totemic golem chooses damage type. It becomes resistant to that damage type for 1d6 plus 1 rounds, gains 2 AC to the end of the round. It may not use the ability again while it still has thingy, basically. So if it's used it and it's still ongoing, it can't just do it again.
That's fair. That's just a bit bouncing there. That checked out.
So the bestiary, perhaps some of the oldest golems to exist, many of which predating civilization itself, because I feel like there were totems and things in like Mesopotamia, or like very, very pre-civilizations. I mean, like Egypt. I think even like totems might have been a Neolithic thing. Anyway, often built by tribes as their guardians and sometimes even avatars for their gods, which is Mesopotamia, things like that. These emotive constructs are as dangerous as they are curious. Unlike other golems, their ability to change their faces via mechanical or sometimes magical means results in a much more complicated battle. Adventurers will need to adjust their battle plan on the fly to wipe the grin off these tiki terrors. And the reason I made this is because I've been watching a lot of Crash to Insanity content lately. And the first boss of that game
Right,
is
doing a lot of
called
tiki stuff.
Tikimon, which is a totem golem guy. So this is a
Oh, that's
CR6
cool.
boss. So it's a CR6 kind of boss, which so aka you probably run it against level 4 players, etc., that kind of thing. It's a huge legendary construct, lawful neutral. Most of the same things are about the same, except it has fire. It resists fire, psychic, and non-magical slashing, piercing weapons like adamantine. Resists vulnerable to acid and bludgeoning because it is specifically a stone one in this instance. Immune to charm, exhaustion, all the same thing. It has a language though. I've given it a language in this instance. It is ancient common or primal if you're using it. If, for example, you're running, what was that thing we played or looked at?
Okay.
We played a session of it. I can't remember.
Teleslanta. That's
Yeah,
Primal's
Teleslanta.
the
Yeah. So if you're playing,
Teleslanta is yeah.
yeah. So if you're playing this in something like Teleslanta, you can have it actually speak primal, which would be really weird. In that case, it would be almost very new, rather it maybe recently built version of it rather than ancient. Yeah.
That's good fit. There are, I mean, they are like largely not functioning, if functioning at all, but they are in that's just a part of the setting. There's just giant golems that have been deactivated and been,
Ooh.
out of action for thousands of years.
Hmm.
That it kind of fits.
Imagine like being a golem so ancient that society is kind of like started again and your language is relevant again. You speak my language?
Yeah,
Yeah, this is a new language. What do you mean it's
primitive
new?
common. It doesn't even have like letters. It's got symbols.
Yeah, and grunts.
The book's really good for like it's got whole pages and pages of just this is what this sign means.
Yeah.
It actually does affect the game. Like there's signs for warning, traps, or animals, or humanoids that way.
So
It's honestly, it's kind of a shame it didn't do a sequel, but yeah, carry on.
So it has moderate magic resistance, so it has advantage on the first 7 against spells and other magical effects, same as the other one, except initiative 20 each turn before phases are chosen, roll a d8. On an 8, this ability recharges. So it's kind of like the previous one, but it has a chance to recharge that magical resistance. Attacks are magical. Critical weakness. If one of Tikimon's throats is obstructed, it will choke on the foreign body and spit it out, taking 1d10 plus 2 force damage in the process. This is a reference to how it's fought in game. How you fight it in Crash to Insanity is you throw Cortex into one of its mouths and it chokes on him and spits him out. So if you can find an object to throw in his throat, you can damage him that way. If you really wanted to. It has Phases, Tikimon chooses 2 of the following phases as a layer action. Initiative 30 in this instance, at the start of each of its turn, allocating 1 to each face. So it has a face on each side, so it has a front face and a back face, basically. The phases are basically the same, except slightly modified. So angry is still, frightens things. Laughing now is changed to take 2 less damage from passive damage and from all creatures looking at at that face. So if you're not looking at that particular face, you're not affected by it. So you will deal damage as normal. So again, it's getting your players to actually move during combat the boss kind of thing.
Okay.
So sad is also changed from magical radius to it and all creatures looking at that particular face suffer the -2. So again, move your character. Manic, again, if they look at the face, they have the effect until end of rounds. But again, it won't take an attack opportunity from this, even though it was able to do so. Yeah. Tikimon has 2 faces, a front face and a back face. While the head can move, the faces will always be diametrically opposed. They will always be front and back. So the head can move, but the face is, it can't just shift, say, the face to the left-hand side. It'll always be front, back.
Okay. Does it have alert? Because that seems like we're really interested.
I should probably put alert on there, but instead of having
literally look behind itself at all times.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I should probably do that. Here's a funny thing. So amplified on the previous thing's been altered for this guy because I thought it would be a more interesting way of doing it because it doesn't roll for its faces in this one. If a character acts in a manner that would be reasonably considered the same emotion that Tikimon is displaying, that amplifies that face's effect. So, depending on character roleplay, they can shoot themselves in the foot. So if they get pissed off that one of their party members is frightened because of Tikimon's angry face effect will become amplified.
Okay, so it's mimetic.
Yeah, it's mimetic.
Fun.
So it's like again introducing people to, if you're in character, be careful about what you do and say and act in character. Stony form, if hit by an acid attack, it will continue to as the stony thing. So the acid thing from the previous one. I could get rid of that bit. Again, multi-attack, it has the same abilities as the other one. It may make one of any legendary action each turn and one move legendary action each round. I figured because it has such a low movement speed, it has a 10-foot movement speed, this one, giving it an ability to move as an extra legendary action each turn. I gave it an extra thing.
It's appropriate.
Yeah. Shockwave Strike is another, so it can punch, it can move. Shockwave Strike, all creatures on the ground within 20-foot radius of a solid ground point within 10 feet of Tikimon must make a dexterity saving throw, DC 15. Creatures take 3d4 force. Half on a success, creatures failing to save are not prone. Basic boss stuff, Jump, if it's attacking in that way. Jump. Buries himself in the ground up to his head or ends his effect. He gains light cover but cannot make dexterity saving throws and his AC is reduced by 4 because he can't move very well. The first attack he makes each turn has advantage and gains an additional 1d4 plus 1 sneak attack damage on top of the attack's default damage type unless the target has tremor sense. Basically, he's attacking you through the floor, basically, giving him effectively sneak attack. And then there's Minion Call.
Okay.
Tikimon summons a construct of the following characteristics. Medium or smaller, CL4 or lower, that's a golem or made of stone, and the summoned creature's max hit points becomes 10. Again, classic boss stuff, adding adds.
Enough.
Yeah, and that's the Lexicon Historia. Precious little is known about this ancient golem from Insanity Island. It's understood to be the vessel of a minor deity worshipped by the island natives, but it is understood that he's a vengeful god who curses his followers if they do not pay tribute to him. It is also believed that he blesses the harvest on Insanity Island during the summer, but this could merely be a belief and correlation, not causation. As in, they'd just be assuming that. The golem, the Tikimon has blessed the harvest. No, it's just a particularly good summer. You know, that kind of thing, a
It's a
superstitious kind
superstition.
of, yeah. Because
Yeah,
there is like no
I,
law on
I like the
Tiki Mod and
idea.
Crash
Sorry,
at all. It's like no law. So,
fair enough.
but yeah, that's what I made this
But
week.
I
I thought
would,
it was interesting.
what you could do with based off that idea.
Hmm.
This whole bigger golem could literally be like the little minion monsters spending. They'd have to. It'd be a risk. It'd be like they spend one turn or a couple of turns literally fusing with each other to
Uh
make
huh.
the big one.
Oh yeah. So made
They
like
literally,
make like little
they literally attack,
pieces. Yeah.
and the golem could also have the ability to willingly break itself apart
Hmm.
to escape if it needed to. So the little ones they move faster, but
Hmm.
they're like 10 hit points, sure, but they can risk it and
Yeah.
disassemble itself and just run away.
That's interesting. Yeah, I might look into that. Maybe think about it. Right. So that's our homebrew of the week, folks. We'll be doing more next week probably. I might go back to. I've got a big pile of magic
Mm.
cards to do, so I'll probably be doing more of them next week. Might do like a couple of them,
Okay.
like a couple of smaller basic things. Anyway, um, rolling for regret. Do we have a rolling for regret this week?
You know what? No, no, not least that I've seen. Um, no, I've been good about going through the pile of shame. So I've been quite good about that. Uh, this no, that's the only thing I do regret really is non tabletop basis. Last I think last week gone, Mitchell said we should go check out the new Aliens movie.
Oh,
It's the most it's the most mid movie ever.
ooh.
It's pretty short review. Yeah, it feels like Ridley Scott doing a best of his own work. Like the like the first act is actually quite good because it establishes the characters fairly well.
Hmm.
It's not half bad, and it shows you a bit more how normal people live in the Aliens universe, which you don't see much of. That's fine, but when it gets into like the the second act onwards, it becomes a bit more of a standard Alien movie where there's just xenomorphs on the ship, and it feels a bit like they're trying to do Aliens 2 and 3 and 4 and weirdly Prometheus again, but it's not as good.
Yeah.
So I do wish I didn't spend 9.95 for the ticket to see that one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, so my rolling for regret this week is a bit of it's not really regret in the sense of I regret having bought it or regret having obtained it. It's more I regret not doing anything with it.
right.
So it's Lobotomy 2 this week because I really want to play it, but
Oh,
it is a massive box and it is quite heavy for a tabletop game thing. So it's very unwieldy to take anywhere is the problem.
what's it called? What's it called? Lobotomy
Lobotomy
2?
2, the thing I won at UK
Yeah.
Games Expo.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I love the look
Oh,
of the game
yeah.
and I really want to try it out, but the box is that big and it's that heavy that I haven't taken it
Yeah, it's
out
a
to
big
when
boy.
I'm meeting you guys because it's just too big, you know? It's just too big. It's one of those that, you know, you either carry it in like a big briefcase or whatever, like your fucking Agent 47 on his way to kill a person, or you play it at your house
Jesus
kind of
Christ.
thing. Yeah, it's a massive.
I
It's a
will say you've done well to get it for free though.
yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
checking the Amazon price of it now, 111 quid.
Oh yeah, it's like it's a pretty, it's pretty pricey. I mean, you get what you know, you get what you pay for, definitely. But it's no less annoying to like how do I play with this thing that I've won when I can barely lift the thing out of my house?
That was quite fun. Right.
Because I can't even fit it in my
Stop
backpack
port
because
the
it
game's not
won't.
portable.
Yeah, it's not really that portable is the problem. I think lovely concept, really cool looking game. It's just not the most portable thing in the world. And the thing with tabletop games is, generally speaking, you kind of want them to be slightly portable, at least feasibly so.
Yeah, if you want to take them about a place, yeah.
Yeah,
Can't take them down to your whatever hobby shop you're going to
yeah,
play these games or whoever's house. You can't get there.
yeah. It's funny because I know another member of our group also won the same box game. They also have a copy of Lobotomy too. And I can't imagine, like, if we ever got into playing it, both of us bringing a big lumbering box of Lobotomy 2 to jam the boxes together for for a massive game. Because, bruh,
It's gonna be a huge game.
it's such a huge box. I get that it comes with everything, though. It comes with everything you need, but still, it's like, I can't lift the fucking thing. Because I have a habit of absent-mindedly forgetting I brought something and leaving it in some place unless it's in my
Yeah,
backpack. So it's like I don't like taking other
fair enough.
bags with me to places because, like, what if I leave it somewhere, which I've been known to do, and have to run back and get
Yeah,
it? And you can't do that with lobotomy too because it doesn't fit. You'd have to have one of those like hiking backpacks to fit it in.
you one of those like those trolleys with you,
Yeah.
the camping trolleys.
Hmm. But yeah, or my suitcase. But that's a bit. My suitcase is a bit overkill. I feel like is the other end of the spectrum. It's a bit overkill for a box of lobotomy too by itself. Anyway, that's my rolling for regret. Just a quick. Because I'm looking at it now, it's like it's looking back at me almost with like judging eyes. It doesn't have eyes, but it's like play me. It's like I can't. Uh,
It's like I've always been. Yeah, I have a similar thing with Betrayal at House on the Hill. I want to get people to play it, but there's never enough people to play it.
mm,
I really like that game, but I've never been able to do it.
hmm. So our final system is fantasy film. Do we have a fantasy film we want to briefly talk about this week?
Yes, there is. Because in a rare moment this week, there was something good on TV, at least for like an hour
Yay!
and a half. Um, they were putting out they were doing Channel 4 some they were doing like all the movies, and they were doing A Knight's Tale. If you've ever seen it,
Oh, I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
I saw it when I was like 14 the first time. It's one of my favorite movies because I can watch it multiple times and I will like it every single time. It's never stopped being entertaining.
Mhm.
If I don't know, it's a I want to say it's a comedy romance, loosely
Mhm.
about a about a squire with this couple of other squires who are like assisting a an elderly knight,
Uh
and
huh.
apparently one the whole plot's kick started when his spoilers for a film from 2001. Um, his master is uh, accidentally killed during a duel, like he dies in his armor.
Oh.
So one of the squires, who's always wanted to be a knight, does the old switcheroo and pretends to be his actual pretend to be his master. It turns out he's actually quite good at jousting. Um, Honestly, so it's like a sports movie, like a medieval sports movie. It's really fun. So you've got his other squire friends pretending to know all about knightly fashion and stuff.
Mhm.
A lot of like anachronistic jokes. I like the first scene's brilliant because it opens with "We Will Rock You," but when the credits are done, the first shot you see is a load of those really long trumpets, like medieval trumpets.
Uh
Yeah, it's a couple of blokes playing them, but they're playing the guitar solo to "We Will Rock You." It's
huh.
just silly stuff like that.
Mhm.
It's really funny. The dialogue's quite good, and the music as well. It's pretty good for the time. Like it's quite adventure-y, but it's good adventure-y. and it's got those like proper like Hollywood happy endings. Uh, it just has a lot of fun, and it clearly knows what it's trying to rip off while being true to some bits of medieval England. It's quite nice. It knows what it's doing.
Hmm.
Um, Honestly, I think I'm not sure if I'd say the film's underrated because it's an early Heath Ledger film, so it's got some fans at least. Shortly after he died, it's one of my favorite films to watch because I can watch it any time of day, any time of year. I can go, yeah, that's good. I'm going to enjoy this.
Hmm.
I think. Let me check if let me check if it isn't definitely on YouTube. 'Cause it might be or it might not be. Do you have one? To watch many movies or?
So I haven't been watching particularly movie stuff at the moment. Um, but I don't know. I've been. What have I been actually even been watching lately? Me take a rare look at my YouTube, um, history, so to speak. Yeah, I don't really have a fantasy film like for this particular week.
Oh, fair
I've
enough.
been I've been running out of stuff to be honest because I haven't really watched a movie
Oh,
in a long time actually. I haven't really sat down to watch an actual movie in a long, long time. I guess because there haven't just there haven't really been that many movies out that I think, yeah, I want to watch this. Except I think there's a couple, but then I just forget that they exist. And then I eventually remember, oh yeah, there was that movie. Like, like I haven't watched any of the Deadpool series apart from the first one, but I'm like, oh yeah, I should probably get on and watch those at some point, and then I forget to watch them. Anyway,
okay, that's
one
fun.
thing I have been
Uh,
watching,
no,
ever so slightly, only clips of it. So I was looking for clips specifically for voice clips, um, because I swear that like in Yu-Gi-Oh a similar voice clip was used for I think it was
right.
Battle Adventure Pokemon. I think was it Battle Adventure?
Ooh.
I think is it that era of
I think
Pokemon?
that's the one you're on about.
Yeah, because I had the
The
DVDs when I
DS
was a
games,
kid. I had
right?
the DVDs as a kid. And in that, there's an episode, I believe, where Misty is in the gym. There's a rare sort of like off thing.
Right.
She's in her gym thing. Her sisters have gone away, so she has to feed and teach the Pokemon. And there's a Gyarados in the aquarium. And that
Right.
she actually has a fear of like a phobia of Gyarados because of like a time when she almost got eaten by one when she was a child, like an infant. And and the reason I was looking in that, and the reason I remember is because in Yu-Gi-Oh, in a clip in a YouTube video about Yu-Gi-Oh, someone did for what I was watching. I think it was like a Master Duel thing or something. They played this old Yu-Gi-Oh clip that had a similar dragon roar to that old Gyarados roar. And I was like, what is that
Oh,
sound? Did I
yeah.
just imagine that? Isn't that the Gyarados roar? But it's a Gyarados roar that is
Is
only used
that?
in that one episode of Pokemon. I can't
Ooh.
remember the series name even.
It's a spin-off.
Yeah. Pokemon.
I'll
It
have
was
to
just. It was
Google. I
just
think by the
Pokemon
sound of it.
Advanced. It was just Pokemon Advanced. I think Pokemon Advanced.
Oh, okay.
Um, something along those ranges. Was it like that? It was like Battle Dimension. I can't remember. Is the problem? I can't remember the exact name of the series. But most of it took place in like the. It was. I think it was a Gen 3 series that took place mostly in
Right.
Kanto.
Interesting.
Yes, it was kind of a spin-off series, but that didn't have Ash in it like at all. I can't remember. I can't remember like what the series name was. If anyone in the comments knows, please let me know because it's gonna bug me forever.
Somewhere in the chat. Oh, there is one of the movie I did see someone review, and I I like to mentally collect weird movies. I
Yes.
found another one that really just it is really out there. I'd say it's. I would go out my way to say it is actually the weirdest film I think I've ever seen,
Uh-huh.
and it's a remake.
Ooh.
So for those that don't know film history, there was a movie called The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. I have not seen the original. I know it's from the 20s, so
Mm-hmm.
literal 1920s. There's been a few remakes of it. One of them was in 1989, and I did not know this until I saw it reviewed.
Uh-huh.
It is the weirdest kind of bad movie. I kind of think you have to see at least once.
Mm-hmm.
It's because you know how in most movies you can tell what the plot is meant to be.
Yeah.
You can't really do that here. That doesn't really apply. And it's an art film, I'd say. Definitely an art film in that it's trying to say something, we have no idea what it's trying to
Uh-huh.
say. The dialogue's all weird. It's almost like an amateur theatre performance, but it's a feature-length movie.
Yeah.
And only sometimes does it make any hint of making sense. But I will say, it does have some really quotable lines that have no context. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's just one of those. It's like I need to add this to my mental list of bizarre movies that I kind of have to go and find somehow because it is great. Um, see, I'll try and find some choice bits and drop them in the chat. But it's okay. Short review. It's a very raunchy, pretentious art film,
Uh-huh.
that, but you have to see it to believe it. It's one of those. Like even with context, it wouldn't make any sense.
Right.
Yeah, so they're just. I would recommend watching it. Just for the just because it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually kind of dreadful. But it is one of those films that's so bad you have to study it and have a proper look at it because
Yeah.
otherwise you wouldn't. There's there's a good
Ah.
just like an 8 second clip that explains everything
Oh
about the
boy.
movie
I will
in one
watch this
clip.
after
I kind of love
stream.
it. If you
Okay.
don't think you could play this before 9 o'clock, it's weird. It's an 8 second clip. Um, but it summarizes what the mood of the film.
I
Like,
love I
yeah,
love
that
the fucking title. I want his boy thing.
yes doesn't make sense in context either, really.
I want
There's
his
one
boy
comment on
thing.
this video just says
Twist it like a
same.
rubber band until it snaps.
What? I hope chat vaguely heard that. I wanted to.
You can look it up.
Does it make much more sense in context? Probably not.
Not at all.
I should make that a fucking I should make that a sound alert that people could play in the chat. I want his
Why
boy
is that
thing.
not like some stupid meme? That's it. It's a perfect meme. Just clip that line. Just
Yeah.
diff it.
Um I love it. Dr.
Yeah.
Caligari. So I found out what the series is called. It's called Pokemon Chronicles. It's from 2002.
Ooh,
So this is like in Japan,
okay.
obviously. So like 2002, 2003, 2004 in the UK, I think, which is about the time when Ruby and Sapphire came out. Yeah, so it's like the series that takes place while Ash is in Hoenn, and we catch up with everybody else. Mostly I think in Kanto. But there was an episode involving like Team Rocket. There's a few episodes involving Team Rocket, which is where the classic Butch and Cassidy come into canon. I think they get some more love and things like that. So a lot of like other bits that weren't expanded on in the anime get expanded on here. Basically, was the idea of it, the side stories. Um, yeah, it's just an interesting little like side series thing that I kind of forgot existed until that fucking Gyarados Raw showed up, which apparently they only used that like one episode.
That's how I rediscovered the eyewitness thing because I was working at Asda. I remembered that music. I was like, where's
Aw.
that from? It just came back to me all at once. But not moment, not that. Yeah. So, I think that's it, isn't it? Unless I'm
Yeah,
missing
that's
something.
everything. Thank you everybody for tuning in. You are wonderful folks. We appreciate
Thanks
you.
for having us again.
Yes.
We'll be back roughly the same time, same place next week.
Yeah.
And have a good. If you're in the UK, probably a rainy week
Wet
or a
Waney.
wet
Yep, yep,
rainy
yep,
week,
yep.
depending on.
It might be
And
wet.
I'll
It
see
might
you
be
then.
waning. It might be very. Yep. Right. We'll raid guideline time. I think today we'll give Lime a raid. Limes. We like limes. Unable to. Okay. Never mind. Why can't I do that? Uh. Technical difficulties, everybody. Attempt number 2. Rate them. You should be. Watch. Oh, maybe they've just ended. Perhaps. Hang on. I'll have to refresh the Twitch, not the stream, but the Twitch, because sometimes it shows like it doesn't show the accurate raid results because Twitch is like that. Maybe we'll add them to Critical Fumble next week. I mean, we added my internet last week. I guess it's not totally out of the question to add them this week. Right, 1 second. Come on. There we go. Oh, yeah. I don't. Okay. For some reason, I can't raid them specifically. I'll have to raid somebody else. Lovely.
Dear. Crashed.
There we go. Twitch broke. Twitch borken. A borken Twitch. Right, there we go. Well, raid crest up. Right, the raid message will be below. You get it with channel points. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you guys very soon. Bye bye.
See you soon. Bye.
Give it a few seconds. Give it a few seconds to actually do the thing. Oh, yeah. I don't. Okay, for some reason I can't raid them specifically.
Please tell me there's more.
That's fine. It's just right now. There we go. Ta-da!
Snip, snip.
Snip, snip. There we go.
Snip, snip. What do we use that as a greeting?
Yes. Right. Thank you for
snip, snip.
Yeah. Thank you for joining me today, Sam. I appreciate it. Right. I shall see you.